Maine's next generation of engineers and inventors came together in Waterville today. This was for the return of the first robotics competition. 16 high school teams from across the state compete head-to-head, building robots to complete unique challenges. Today was the first day in the process where student teams and their adult mentors learned the parameters for this year's challenge. Create a robot that can climb and throw balls into a hub. Now, while it is an international challenge, First Robotics in Maine is made possible by Robotic Institute of Maine, Maine Space Grant Consortium, and Thomas College. For First and Thomas College, investing in the challenge is setting Maine up for a bright future.
The state of Maine itself is facing a pretty significant workforce shortage, and one of the ways of solving or addressing that workforce shortage problem is through these STEM careers. Thomas is that extension to that pathway from First Lego to First Robotics to what does the career in the workforce and the economy need.
It's important for us in terms of like a bigger community for that workforce development piece. Not only that, but these students are the leaders in their communities. This gives them an opportunity to be involved in something that is team focused and leadership focused, but isn't a high school sport.
Now teams have 8 weeks to build their robots before the teams compete together again for some friendly competition.